God, I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, girl.
Okay, first of all, welcome to season 5. Thank you for joining Tru Self, Michelle, and I appreciate you so much for coming in. Introduction for the season 5. 5. So I definitely want to talk to you about, like, how do you fall back in love with yourself again?
Yes. Okay. So I remember you told me about this topic, and I was like, "Oh God, this is literally what I'm doing." This, as you know, I'm going into my 40s, and I'm actually really, really excited about it. And I've been spending the past couple of weeks. So I did I'm doing a countdown, like 40 weeks until I'm 40, because I'm that extra. Um, So I'm spending like the next 40 weeks just doing things that I love and celebrating the things that make me me. And yeah, it's like kind of like just tying into what you're asking, like appreciating the things that make me me instead of trying to shrink myself to fall into this idea of what 40 should look like or me being a Black creative should look like. It's whatever I want to make it. And so it's just like every week doing something that makes me happier or stronger or challenge me as a creative. And it's been rough because I'm doing 75 hard as well.
Oh, you're crazy.
And yeah, and I'm not even, I'm in my first 2 weeks. So that's why I text you, I literally was running home from a workout. I was like, oh crap, is that one? But I think just, I've really been thinking about this topic. There's so many levels to it. Like us as Black women,
Oh,
us
yeah.
as Caribbean women,
Oh, yeah.
there's so many reasons why society says we shouldn't fall in love with ourselves. We shouldn't love ourselves. We should shrink and fit this idea of what makes it easy for people to digest us. And now just seeing our generation of women pretty much say F that. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. I'm gonna be me, and watching us excel because of that has just been really, really such a blessing.
Wow, you're about to make me cry. That's kind of wild. Um, what do you feel like you learn is the best part of being you?
Um, no one sees things the way I do,
Mm,
and I think just because I've had just my experience and my view of things allows me to add a unique take to certain things. Because there's so many things I look back at as a child. I was like, why did this have to happen? And why did I get exposed to this? Or why was I that weird kid that liked these different things? But now seeing it come together, um, it makes me appreciate why I have like such a unique take on things, even though sometimes it's a little weird, but I love it.
embrace the weird. That's what I love.
Yeah,
I
listen,
almost
it's
got a
authentic.
tattoo that said "Stay weird," and someone talked me out of it, and I was like, "Damn." I still like regret not getting it.
You still have time.
True. I do. Um, as we get older, our opinions change a lot. What do you feel like you used to stand on, and then as you got older, you changed your mind about it?
In regards to me or to other people, or
In regards to you.
I think I've learned to, well, I'm still working through this, but be kinder to myself. I was very, very strict and very, very hard on myself. Um, and I never gave myself any kind of grace. It's making me emotional thinking about it. But now that I'm getting older and understanding that like grace is needed for growth and allowing
Mm.
myself to take a breather when I need to, and pause when I need to. Because when I was younger, I did not do that. I would hit the ground running, have a nervous breakdown for a couple of days, and then hit the ground running again. So now I'm learning like grace is needed and pausing is needed and reflection is needed, and forcing myself to do that, because that's the hard part, is learning to force myself to do that.
Oh my God, yes. I agree with that because I feel like I used to be hard on myself as well. And then I used to kind of push like this idea of people on others until you grow up and you realize like I'm a fuck up too. Um fuck up also, and give myself grace and then give other people grace as well. It's so hard to like kind of, I used to stand on like, oh, you should be this way, you should be that way. But then I had to learn to kind of let people go and they'll figure it out on their own, let them grow up in their own, and then allowed myself to grow up in their own also, like on my own. So it's, and then I feel like I'm different in a way of like, kind of be like, all right, well, that's that. We can't dwell on that. Eventually they'll get it together. That's where
Yeah.
I'm at now. Because there's so much opinions that kind of push us down. Why
Yeah.
will I add to that? I realized that the hard way. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. What a whirlwind of growing up it is, man.
And we just started.
I know. I feel like the 20s, we really did like take advantage. Do you feel like that?
I don't know. My 20s, I feel like my 20s happened in my 30s because my 20s was my responsibility was to my family. And that's what I focused on all of my 20s. I made choices and decisions because big picture, I was pretty much one of the caregiver for my family. So I made those decisions with my family in mind. And then I hit my 30s and I was like, I can do whatever I want. Yes, but no. I was like married by the time I was 33. So I was just like, oh, okay. Like now I can like try to figure things out. But I wish I had like my 20s to be my 20s to like fail forward. So it's like now I'm trying to learn that now. Even though I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you're too old to be trying to figure this out. But also I'm like, says who?
That's true. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. We're gonna forever try to figure stuff out. I feel like I say this to my best friend, like, yo, like I am so happy who I am now that like when I get to 40, like what's that gonna be like? Like
it's gonna be
how
amazing.
like how is this gonna happen for me? Like I don't understand. Like I think you like appreciate yourself like making bad choices a little bit more. You're like, okay, so I learned from that. I can move on kind of faster. That Killer Mike speech, right? When he was like, don't ever let someone tell you you're too old to do anything. First of all, watching you model full force right now at your age is so amazing. I'm like, my girl, working. I'm so proud.
Trying.
So what made you, because I knew you was a model before. So what made you want to keep pushing to do it?
So I modeled like in my teens and early 20s, and then I paused because I was freelancing for the most part. It was hard to get signed to an agency because I had 35-inch hips. Now looking back, I'm like, and when I went into an agency that shall not be named, they were like, we really like you, we want to sign you, but you need to lose like 2 inches on your hips. And my mom was like, absolutely not, because I was small. Like if you look at the photos of me, I was a small girl. Like I didn't hit a size 4 until I was like in my 20s. So I would freelance and work and model, and then I just put a pause on it because I was just like, it's just not realistic. It was hard because I mean, I don't know if you know this, but back in like the early 2000s, so agencies had like a quota for how many Black models they signed. So if I went on a website and I saw this agency had 5 Black models, and like 2 of them had like long straight hair, they had a more European look, and then 2 of them had more of a like a more I guess like Afrocentric look, like fuller lips, short hair, then that meant I can't submit because they already have their girls.
Oh my God.
So that's how it used to be. So now I kind of fell into it really. I mean, Chris, my husband, was the one that pushed me into it because I was doing partnerships and stuff like that with social media accounts, and then Chris was like, why don't you just do this for real, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I should. And then talking to my friends, they're like, yeah, why don't you do this for real?
Yeah.
So I submitted to an agency, got signed, and started working. And it's a very like interesting space to be in now, because when I go to castings, it's I feel like the mama. I'm always just there, like making sure everyone feels good and everyone feels safe. And I go in there like with the mentality: if it's for me, it's for me. If it's not, it's not. There's no reason for me to compete with anybody. Like, what is the point? Like, what's the point of me coming in and being mean to you because we're both blonde black girls? Like, one of us is gonna get it. Hopefully, one of us gets it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time. I never had time for competing when I was younger. So I definitely don't have time for competing now. I'm like a whole grown woman, like married.
Right.
Got a
I was gonna
closet
ask
full
that
of
question, like,
clothes.
how do you feel secure in like a room full of people? That was gonna be my next question anyway.
Well, to answer that question, it's honestly it's my mother's fault. When I was a kid, my mom would always, and now Chris has to deal with this hard-headed part of me. Um, I couldn't do anything because everyone else was doing it. My mom was like, absolutely not. She would
Mm-hmm.
always compare it to mass suicide. She was like, well, if everyone jumps off a bridge, are you gonna jump off a bridge? I was like, but I just want the sneakers that everybody has. How does it have to do with like jumping off of a bridge?
Yo.
But she really wanted me to like be myself and be different. And a lot of it was tied to, the Bible. She was, we were raised in a Christian household. So she was just like, you're meant to be different. You're meant to be set apart.
Yeah.
And having that like literally against my will, like hammered into my head. And that being the foundation of who I was. And I was always that weird black kid that was in like high school and just like loved all the different odd things. And then I was a Christian, so I didn't do everything that everyone else did. And then growing into like going to college and working in fashion, and a lot of times being the only black woman in my spaces, you had to lean into it and be comfortable into who you were. Because if you didn't, there's no one around you that's gonna tell you what you need to hear. You had to be the one telling yourself that.
I'm
Um,
telling you. Oh my God.
yeah, because no one's gonna validate you if you don't validate
Oh
yourself.
my God.
So I just learned to do that. So then now as an adult, when I walk into spaces, I think my hardest thing now, because God has really been pressing on my heart, is to take up space. And
Mm.
that's been something that I've been embracing as I'm going into this year. It's just like taking up space and being okay with that. Because no one's gonna allow you to do it if you don't do it. So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
coming in like, this is me. If you don't like it, good luck.
Oh my God. That's a really like I definitely connect to that. It's like being in so many different rooms, I've like learned to not code switch anymore. I am who I am. I'm not changing for nobody. It makes me much more comfortable to be around people, even though um I'm definitely the type not to be in anybody's face. I
I know.
do not care. Like I do not care. And I feel like I'm in an industry that everybody likes to be in other people's faces, and I just can't. Nothing in me. I just cannot do it. Like I remember when I was doing this pilot, and the director was like, "Yeah, like I noticed like you're so different because you're not in people's faces." I was like, "I'm here to do a job. I ain't here to come and talk to y'all in your face while shooting. Like this is not what I'm about to do."
But I also play that's a New Yorker in you too. Because we're like, we're not impressed. We're not impressed.
We so hard to impress. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
We're like, oh no, go over there. Like the amount of fashion events I've been to and like the influencers are doing the most. I'm like, oh girl, come on. Come on.
Yo, my boss said, like, "Oh, why don't you talk to people? You can get a job." I was like, "No, I don't want me running and talking to people is the reason why I get a job. That's not like it don't sit right with me. I just want things to happen organically. If
Yeah.
they see my work, it's fine. But it's like I just refuse. I don't know. It probably is a New Yorker thing.
It is, man. I seriously, because people are, I can't speak to all of us, but I think like we have like this thing in us that people are very much attracted to. And I guess it's like a
Mm,
lot of the ease to it. And when I'm on set, I'm on set, I just do my thing and people are just, they gravitate towards me. It's not like I'm running,
mhm.
trying to be this person's friend and this person's friend. And oh, they do this and they do this. So should I talk to them? Like, if I'm meant to talk to them, I'm meant to talk to them. If not, I'm not going
Mhm.
to roll myself in the way and be like,
Right. Ugh, it just makes me so uncomfortable to see people like that too. But look, I gotta let them be them.
yeah, like, go ahead, shoot your shot. I'm not going to knock it. Shoot your shot. I
Right.
won't do it that way, but yeah.
Oh my God. So, okay, next topic I want to talk about is friendships. Uh,
Oh, Lord. Okay.
it's
Okay.
like
Okay.
because
Okay. You
I
can
feel
cut out
like
the parts with me too.
growing
Go ahead.
up and falling
Mm-hmm.
in love with yourself kind of go hand in hand into like the people that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, have you had to make decisions to be like, this person doesn't fit into what I am, where I'm currently going in my direction in my life? Have you ever had to go through that?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. So my best friend I've known since we were 12 years old. She now lives in Philadelphia. We talk to each other every now and then. But I think so there's been like a lot of rise of this conversation of like low maintenance friendships. And I think she's one of those. And I think that's probably why we work so well, because we don't demand too much of each other because we know
Mm,
life is happening. But to answer your question, I have a really, really hard time um with moving on with relationships, even though like I can come in and know um that it's not going to work, but once I make the decision that we're friends, it's hard to like move on unless you like do something really horrible. But
oh yeah.
once like the friendship is over, then, and I know I don't want to be like that, it's like, oh, because I'm a Scorpio, but once the friendship is over, and or if it ends for a bad reason, then you
Yeah.
actually, and I'm working through this, like you're actually like dead to me. I don't like, I'm not gonna fake the
Hmm.
funk. We're not gonna show, if we're at an event, do not, we're not doing the kisses. We're just like, hi, keep
Hmm.
moving. Um, but I've always been very, very intentional about my circle, because ever since I was a kid, you know, I don't know if you can relate to this. I feel like New York girls are just me, but ever since I was a kid, and as I got older, I realized that there are some women who are fine with you as long as you don't um, outshine them. And that was me as a kid. I was very, very shy. And like, if there was a popular girl and she would be my friend, I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm not like, oh, I want to be this person's friend. But once I started to get attention for some reason, I would watch them change and be mean to me. And then I was just like, this is why I don't need friends. So I would just keep my circle really, really small. So like
Hmm.
through um, junior high school to high school, I literally had Elizabeth, who's my friend to this day. She was like my best friend, ride or die. And then she moved to Philadelphia, and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Right.
this is my person. Like,
Yeah.
and it was harder to be friends with other people because it was just like you have to do this whole learning process. But as I got older,
Mm.
I feel like this is a long rant, but as I got older, I
No, keep
became
going. I
very,
need this.
very like I became very, very intentional about my space, my people, and my circle was very, very tight. And then I started going to Hillsong, and it exposed me to people who I was literally telling one of my girlfriends this. That church space exposed me to people that I wouldn't be friends with outside of the fact that we are both Christians, and we both
Mm.
have that we both are intentionally living a life for Christ. Outside of that, we wouldn't be friends. And there are people that I allowed into my life to be
Mhm.
friends with, knowing that like if we were on the street, if we were at work, we would not be friends. No, I'm being really, really
Yeah,
honest, and I
it's
really
true.
like
I
I've
understand.
spent the past year um assessing this as I'm going. Like, I'm like, there are a lot of things I've just been reflecting on as I'm going into. I'm like that person, like reflecting on the past decade. Like, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? But that was
Oh,
like one of my that was one of my big things. Like, I realized there are people that I would not have access to, or would not have access to me as friends if it wasn't that the common thread is Christ. And that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing, because
no,
like
it's not.
our core friend group is very diverse, in background, in race and cultures, and we're so
I can
grateful to
attest to
have them
that.
in our
Yes,
life.
it is.
Yes. We got everybody in our core group. And I'm so grateful for them, because if it wasn't for us meeting in our church, I wouldn't have met them. And they're
Yeah.
such a amazing part of my life. And they've been in my life for the past decade. But then there were also people that were in my life that I like because we were both Christians, I was fighting for them more than I needed to. And there were
Mm.
times where God was like, let them go. And I'm like, no, I could save them.
Mm. Mm.
No, that's not my job. I can't save nobody.
They
But
don't want to
knowing
be
things,
saved, okay?
yes, I know, literally. But you know, and this, I remember literally, I wish I wrote it down, but I remember September 2021, I was praying and I was like, God, I want like really more intentional friendships, female friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and the ones who are not for me, clear them out. And I didn't expect him to respond so fast. Did
That's a
not
rough
expect him to
prank.
respond so
I'm gonna just tell you right now.
listen, I didn't expect him to respond so fast. Did not. And I was like, oh, okay. And he did. And I was like, all right. And like a lot of it was like reflecting and thinking about like, okay, how can I be a better friend? What do I want from my friendships, and being okay with
Mm-hmm.
demanding what I want for those friendships, because I know
Yeah.
like I will show up 100%. I will hide that body for you if I need to. Like I'll be your alibi, but
Thank you.
also but also it's okay to ask that in exchange as well. But not from all friends, but from, you know, the ones who I know who can do that. And I think because I was just so used to being that person in my relationships with my family, of having to be the strong one, that I kept doing that, putting myself in these friendships where I was the strong one and I was the dependable one and I was the reliable one. And
Yeah.
it was hurting the friendship and hurting me more than it was helping the friendship. But to
Yeah.
answer that now, as I assessed all of that over the past year, having the friends that I have now, um, and allowing space sometimes when I need space, honestly, or if they need
Mm-hmm.
space, showing up for them if they're going through a hard time, checking in when I need
Yeah.
to, and also like just, you know, dealing with like new friendships. And that's my hard sorry, that's the hardest part. New friendships. I'm like, but I don't want to do this. I'm old. You gotta learn somebody all over again. You
Mm-mm.
gotta do the awkward like
I'm telling
hangout,
you.
coffee hangouts. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and now we're in a new church, so
yeah.
that's something that's happening now. But like organically, like talking to people, and then like, oh,
Yeah.
I
It's
kind
different.
of like them. Like, oh, maybe we
Yeah,
could
that's
hang
different
out.
if it's the friendship is organically happening instead of like
Yeah,
being forced into it. It's true.
yeah. So it just also like, and that's I know I hate saying this, but that's a trigger for me. If you're forcing the friendship, that is really, really hard, because the people who have forced friendships in my life are the ones that have been the most dysfunctional that
Mm.
I've had.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, any friendship I've had that's been organic has flowed or ended in a very nice, natural way.
Yeah.
But the ones I've been forced are the ones where I'm just like, I still
Yeah,
have
those
a
yeah.
reaction.
Yeah, like they always want to be around you. They want to hang out really fast. Like I just be like, oh,
Yeah,
calm down. Like I
yeah,
couldn't do it. Like that is something I could see that can be a problem. Yeah.
yeah. Because I
Man.
mean, we became friends organically.
We did. Thank God. Yo, like I connect a lot to what you said because it's very yeah, friendships, especially like, when I entered into church, I was like kind of getting out of a friend group. I was basically, this is the first time I'm saying it out loud. Oh my God. I was basically like kind of pushed aside because that part of the friend group, they were having babies, they were getting married, and they just like, okay, well, we're over here. So that's how I got into church. But my best friend Bianca, she is my ride or die. Okay, we knew
Yep.
each other since we were 6 years old, and that girl has never pushed me aside because of a man. Okay, and those are the friends you gotta definitely look out for. Push you
Yeah.
aside when a man come around. Nah. So I definitely learned how to be a better friend with her. We've been through it a lot, but to like gain new friendships, it has to happen the appropriate way for me. A lot of them do come from like work or whatever. If we say, oh, we got to hang out and it never happens, that's cool too. That's okay for me. Because it shows that like if I try to make an effort and the other person isn't, it's like already a sign for me. So I'm already gonna leave it right where it is. Cause I don't, and then when they see you making moves, they want to be around you now. Like, no, stay right there. No, we don't need that over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Yeah, I've watched people like gravitate towards me because of just places that I worked, or they found out I
Oh yeah.
worked somewhere, or I was friends with this person and they wanted
Oh.
to just, they wanted to social climb. And my thing is, I'm very protective of my friends. If they're my friend, I'm not going to just put them in a place where they're going to be uncomfortable with someone who's just going to be in their face
Oh God.
trying to kiki, like, oh, you do this, or we should do this together. And like, you just met them. What are you doing?
Right? Ooh. Jeez, I can't imagine. I'm so sorry you have to go through that. Jesus Christ.
It's life.
Yeah, it's like, and then you catch yourself kind of like hanging on to something that's not even supposed to be there. Like I got rid of a lot of friends last year, and going into this year, I cannot even like, it's a wrap. I don't want like the happy birthday friendships no more. I don't want that anymore. I want friends that's actually going to be consistent. And it's harder to find those type of friends. Like I know everybody gets like busy, but like have something at least once a year. Me and you hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if it's nice in the summer, I'll be dragging you around everywhere.
See what I'm saying? Like something like that. Like I don't need a lot. That's why I realized about myself. I don't need a lot, but I need just enough.
Yeah.
You understand? It feels weird to say it like that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like your low maintenance friendship.
Low maintenance friendships, they matter. Hard lesson you had to get through / over.
Hard lesson that I had to get through. I can't do everything, and I can't be everything to everyone.
Rough.
Yeah, which is hard because I'm a type A. I'm the
Type A, organized.
Yeah, you had to deal with it. I am the eldest of a immigrant mama, so I was always the one that if something had to get done, I had to do it. And that's what I did for as long as I could. And then I just feel like God just put me in situations where he was showing me like, you cannot do everything. You cannot be everything to everyone. And it was hard. It was hard to learn that and to accept it. Because it's like the idea is like, well, I have to be perfect. Like that's the expectation that people have for me. So I have to be perfect. I have to present myself this way. And God was just like, nope, you're not perfect. He's perfect, obviously. And that's why I need him. So this idea of trying to take on this, like, I'm not even realizing like this godlike idea of like, oh, I'm so perfect. That's why everyone comes to me for this. It's just like, no.
Yeah, one of the lessons I had to learn that I have rose-colored glasses. That was rough to learn. I didn't realize it. Like I only see good. I don't see anything else.
Oh,
like
I'm the worst. I am a cynic. I am so cynical. Chris sometimes is like, babe. I was like, they're just observations, and I'm not wrong. Like I'll just say it like I see it, and like, oh, this person, blah blah blah. Not in a negative way. It's just like these are observations. Because it's like that just sounds very negative. I'm like, well, that's not my fault.
And also, you're New Yorker,
I'm
so
not
you see
wrong.
everything. And you Caribbean, so you got the intuition.
I know. Be real. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Yo, the rose-colored glasses thing was really rough for me because I was like, I'm like, until they did something wrong, and I'm like, oh my God, like what? They did this the whole time. It rocked me. Like, and then I remember telling a friend, I was like, yeah, I got rose-colored glasses when it comes to you. She's like, what? And she was so shocked when I said it. I'm being honest. I can't see wrong right now. Okay. Like,
meanwhile, I'm like, you didn't see that coming when they did it the first time, and then they did it the second time, and then they said this. Yeah. But I think that's also a trait that like me and my siblings have.
Being in the house, that helped me. That helped me see a lot of things like, yo, oh shit, no. Oh my God. They've been narcissists the whole time. Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Oh my God. So that
but
was something.
I do see the positive of seeing the good in everyone.
Thank
I
you.
think that's a good thing. Like, I wish I could be like that. Just a little. Just a little bit.
I see that coming.
Just a little bit. I struggle with that. I'm like, oh, everyone's great. I'm the person that I wait for the other shoe to drop all the time. I'm like,
show me your ways. I feel like I'm getting there.
no, it's stressful.
No. Actually, I am. So, what are the things you feel like you're still? I feel like you touched on it already. You're still like learning to get through.
Uh, being kind to myself, showing myself compassion. That's something that me and my therapist talk about all the time.
Oh
Because
my
I have
goodness.
I have all these goals for myself, and she's just like, just not have a goal. Like, I'm very black and white. Like, this has to happen or this has to happen. Like, I do not.
Oh,
COVID has. I mean, I knew this before, but COVID has made it really real. I do not thrive in gray areas. I love rules. I love regulations. I love all these different things. I love structure. I love like organization. And once you tell me I can do whatever I want, I'm like, within what confines? Like, I can do whatever I want, like between this and this, or and they're just like, just have fun. I'm like, have fun. Do whatever I want. I don't know what I want to do. So that I've been learning that, like, what do I want to do when I don't have to keep rules in mind and ideas from other people in mind. Yeah. And being kind when it doesn't work out the way I want it to.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah, that is a huge one. That's really big. I find myself not having plans too much. I feel like I have a whiteboard, of course, but like I don't organize to a T. That's just not me. I feel like God is in the details for me because He already know who I am. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm aloof somewhere. Like it kind of helped me in a lot of places, but it also hurts me sometimes. So I try to be as organized as I can, but I think that plans give me anxiety sometimes.
See, and no plans give me anxiety. I'm like,
That's why we work out. That's why we work
yeah.
out. Plans give me anxiety. I feel like I couldn't think too much ahead. I think 5 months is enough for me. You know what I mean? Like I see
Versus
what's happening.
my 40 weeks out.
Like I know what's gonna happen from here till like July, but anything beyond that is just what's gonna happen. I feel like what I can't control, and that's other thing I have to like say, like control what you can, because I get a lot like try to control things and then you end up in mess. Like I always say, trying to control things and you end up in mess, boy.
Like I've been focusing more on sustainability because, and I mean, I know you co-sign with this, but I hate, and this is something I was thinking about when I was thinking about like our conversation that we are going to have. I think about like how much I love being myself and the way we grew up. Listen, these Gen Z give us a hard time, but they're obsessed with us. Because I literally think I was like, you guys don't like us because you love us.
Yeah.
Like you hate us so much, you love us.
And their parents is millennials.
You're literally repeating a whole era that we were like, we try to forget it, and you want to repeat it. You Y2K all over again. We did that.
I hate it.
But one thing I've noticed, because my niece, I have, all my nieces are Gen Zs or Generation Alpha. It's very interesting to see this generation literally like they're boring.
They are.
They all look alike. And I remember, maybe it's just because we're from New York. Yo, if you copied somebody, you got clowned. Like, like you just saw someone rock an outfit the same way, and you're like, oh, that's nice. You step up and you do the same thing. Oh, you're getting dragged. You're getting dragged.
That's so true. That's why I really felt like I tried so hard to like stick out and try to be myself. Like I went through a whole phase of trying to like dress differently. Still to this day, I feel like I still try to just stick to that the most simpler way I can. But like but still, like, try to be myself, be comfortable being myself in all the spaces.
Yeah.
So like they all do look the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it breaks my heart because I'm like, hey, this is, you're in your 20s, this is the most fun you can have. The most fun
Yo,
you
I
can
feel
have.
like we
You can
had more
figure it
freedom
out.
to experiment, though. Do you
Yeah.
feel like we had more freedom to experiment? We didn't have social media helping us look good. We didn't
We didn't have
have,
social media telling us what was in, and if I hear one more person use slang out of tone, I'm gonna scream. But like out of like context. But oh, my Lord. Yeah, we didn't have social media to tell us how to do it. We had to figure it out on our own. Yeah,
oh
it
yeah, we didn't have
it was
any
a special
YouTube
time.
tutorials.
And we were
We
the
didn't
ones
have
creating the
anything.
YouTube tutorials as we were
We
figuring
the
it out.
ones.
We were the ones figuring out like, oh, guess what I just learned. And like get ready
Yo,
with me as I
I
try to.
read or I heard someone say like, oh, like I think social media has helped like Atlanta people dress better. That's what I read. I was like, oh my
There are
God.
people literally like where I'm like, where are you from? But you dress, and that's the thing. This is one thing I do notice, like living in New York City.
What happened?
No, one of the motorcycles like went by, obnoxiously loud. What I've learned, like living here, because TikTok has made New York City, especially Brooklyn.
I
Rest in
wrote
peace.
that on
Rest in
Twitter. I
peace,
was like,
Brooklyn.
yo, they be like romanticizing the city too much. That I'd be like, yo, where this place at? Because I ain't never seen.
I was like, but the thing is, like, as much as I was like, when I was younger, I used to clown Brooklyn. I was like, ugh, Brooklyn's ghetto, blah, blah, blah. But I would be here every weekend. I would be here every weekend. Every weekend I'd
Yeah,
be in Flatbush, East Flatbush. But you can tell who's not from here anymore because they literally are like, it's kind of like this, like opt into this outfit, like white Air Force Ones or the cargo pants and the crop baby
yeah.
top and or the
Mhm.
Tims with the North Face now, and they all look the same. Their makeup is all the same. They're all wearing the same
Yeah,
products, and it's just like,
yeah,
where's the originality? Like I am bored, and that's one of the things. Like
yeah,
now, I'm focusing on like not now creating content again because before I stopped, I was like, I am sick and tired of seeing the same thing and then the same thing pushed on my feed. The parents was just like, I'm
yeah,
tapping. Now I'm
yeah.
just like, my style is different. My style is what it's always been. And now I'm like, I'm just gonna put it on my platform now because they're not doing nothing. They're not eating, they're all just doing the same thing. They're copying each other. And I'm just like, this is fashion. You have
Mm-mm,
like you have 100,000 followers for this? Like I can
mm-mm.
I can't pick you out amongst everyone else. You all look the same. And it's
Yeah,
so boring because fashion is, I guess that's what
supposed to
they
be
would say.
fun.
Yeah. And I think,
It's supposed to be
there's always
fun.
saying like fashion and style are two different things. And I think that's what it is.
Oh yeah,
We're in this stage of this, everyone has fashion, everyone has access to fashion. Klarna is making sure that we can all buy any and everything. Like we can all
Klarna
afford
know
Prada and
me
Louis
on Etsy
Vuitton.
buys. Klarna know me.
Klarna is like, you can all afford Louis Vuitton and Prada and pay it off in these
Oh
6
no.
easy installments. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Tell me
they know
I'm
me. Yes. Yes, the Klarna, the Afterpay, they know
Yeah,
me
they
real good.
they got us. But like that, like
Mhm.
style is different. Style is like even with that trend, like how you wear it versus how you style it. And I used to watch and like, you didn't do anything. You didn't style
Ugh,
it. And
no.
it breaks my heart. Because I don't want to be a hater, but I think like, my mom, she wasn't perfect, but she and my aunts and my grandma, they raised me in this time of just like they were bad women. Like looking back, I was
Mhm,
like, oh,
mhm.
my mom
Yeah.
was rocking red lipstick before black women were rocking red lipstick, and you
Oh
couldn't tell me.
yeah.
You couldn't
Mhm.
tell her she couldn't wear red lipstick. Did you
Oh
not
yeah.
see
I
what
have
she
a
looks
picture of
like?
my mom wearing red lipstick way back in the days too.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
that was like what? And I remember when I started wearing red lipstick, there weren't other black women wearing red lipstick.
Yo, same like
Now I see all of them. I'm like, oh, so we do this now because this has been my signature. But I used to
I
wear always
mean,
red
I was
from
rocking
Sephora.
the plum every day though. Like I used to wear that shit down.
Yo, I would wear always red from Sephora. That
Hmm.
was my go-to. And then one year they sold out, and
Oh, you know it's changed.
I was like, "What do you mean you sold out?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's like really popular." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "I can't wear this anymore because everyone else is wearing it." I was struggling, and I was like, "What am I
Oh
supposed to do?
my
This is who
gosh.
I am." Like,
Now when I go to gatherings and stuff like that, I make it conscious to like not wear red anymore like I used to. I'm like,
I
I'm gonna
love
wear
it. You
pink
can't
because I
tell
just
me.
know feel like everybody in the room's gonna
I feel
have
like I've
red on.
always known you with like pink, like a deep pink lip.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What color are you
Yo,
wearing
I've been
now?
searching for this, huh?
What color are you wearing now?
It's this L'Oreal, like this wine.
It looks pretty.
Thank you. I love it. I bought two. I got one in my bag, one in here. Like, I
Listen,
love it. But I always try to find this perfect pink. That's why I always probably like got so many pink lipsticks because it's like I go on this quest for certain colors. It's a whole thing, yo.
I
Man.
did fuchsia for a bit, and then Nicki Minaj did that hot pink thing, and then I was like, I respectfully opt out because everyone was wearing that obnoxious pink, and I was just like, it doesn't work
From
no
Mac.
more. I don't remember where it was from. I didn't buy it. Buy
Yo,
it.
I still got that shit in there somewhere. I should have thrown it out too. It was called bubblegum. I remember being in Vegas wearing it every day in Vegas. Okay, like, and then I don't know. I
Couldn't
just
tell
fell
you
out of
nothing.
love with it. Couldn't tell me nothing. I just fell out of love with it. I don't know what happened to me. I feel like we all go through a phase though. Like phases is something that's I don't know if I will ever grow out of. Like, yeah, I just love caps. I think that's something I will always stick to.
Yeah, you've always rocked caps. Like, if I
I
can think
was
of someone
wearing
who
lids the other
always,
day because
I was like, if I could think of someone who was always in a hat, I'm like, it's Camilla. Like, I was like, if I have any questions, I can text her. She'll,
yo, I was wearing lids. I was like, let me get a little lids hat. Let me treat myself. Let me
you know,
get me
my
a
esthetician was like, you need to start wearing hats to protect your face from like your skin from the sun. And
yeah.
I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, you need to protect and I was like, I have to start wearing baseball hats. Like, who am I?
No one rocks a haircut like you, child. For real. Don't
Listen,
cover it up.
I never wore a hat. I was like, here you go. You get a beret in the
Like, what made you want
fall.
to stick to like the haircut? Also, I wanted to ask that.
Um, I don't know. I shaved my head. I went natural when I was like 20. I was still with my ex and he did not like it. So I was like 21, 22. Um, and, you know, he was like one of those like Jamaican men that like women should have their hair straightened, blah, blah, blah. And I went natural and he was not about it. And I was also his like dark skinned girlfriend. But roll my eyes. I went natural when I was 20, 21, 22. And then it it was hard because the only products that were out were like Miss Jessie's, and they were for like the girls with like the more like mixed hair texture. And my hair texture is very like 4A, 4C.
Hmm.
I think. I don't even know. So I think it was like natural for like a year. And then I went back to my perm pixie cut because I was a pixie cut girl for since I
Oh my
was like
god.
12. My first haircut was a Tony Braxton haircut when I was 12 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
what do
I
know?
cried because they had to cut my hair, cried. And my mom was like, you're beautiful with long hair or short hair. And I said, say less. And I never grew my hair out, never grew my hair out. Wore my hair short
Yeah.
all through, and wore my hair short all through junior high school. High school, I started growing out and I started wearing a weave in like my senior year of high school because, you know, prom
Hmm.
was coming up. So I was
You
like,
want to be flirting it.
I needed to, you know, but yeah, so as I got older, I did pixie cuts and I liked it a lot because it worked for me.
Hmm.
But when I really was like, this is who I am, I had a blonde pixie when I was 25. And literally 2 days before my 26th birthday, it was Halloween. I walked into my friend's barbershop And I showed him, I was like, cut it off. And he was just like, what? I was like, cut it off. And he thought I was
Mm-hmm.
joking. And I was like, no, cut it off. So I had like a blonde buzz cut. That was like my first haircut. And I mean, the way people were breaking their necks and giving me attention, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, I was 26. I was just like, what? Me? Oh, me? Yeah, and then from there that was it. I think I was like a brunette for like 2.5 seconds, but my hair was short. Um, I never was someone who was like fixated on growing my hair out to get a fro.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they were beautiful. Like my youngest sibling, like their hair is obviously way better than mine. They have like their hair texture is a lot thicker. My hair texture is very fine. So like froze is that's a cute idea. Like it ain't gonna happen. But
Yeah.
so I think it's just like something clicked, and I love being blonde. This like
Mm-hmm.
the platinum blonde is a little bit harder to like. It's a lot of upkeep, like you see, Anita.
Mm-hmm.
There are points where like I do like this is this is my look. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is my look, and I
It's true.
embrace it. But sometimes it's hard when you see like you look around, you start to see a lot. Like you're like, oh wait, I'm not the only one. But I
Mm,
am the only one that does it the way I do it. But there are
yeah.
times where I'm like, all right, I'm just like, I'm gonna be a redhead because no one else is a redhead right now. And I always have
Mm-hmm.
to like catch myself, like, girl, calm down. It is not that serious. It is not that serious. But I
Yeah.
think what made me embrace the blonde, I think also it was more like being okay with being seen, because
Mm,
being a black blonde, like a black woman with blonde hair, people are automatically gonna look in your direction. And then also when I had my hair short, all you see is my face. Like I
yeah,
can't hide. I can't
that's
hide.
true. Yeah.
And I was just getting used, and I think it made people more okay with like approaching me. Like people come up to me and tell me I'm beautiful. Still to this day, makes me
Yeah, I love that.
uncomfortable. It makes me so uncomfortable. They're like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You dress so nice. I'm always looking at the way you dress." I'm like, "Please stop." I'm slowly dying inside. But
Yo, some
yeah,
lady walked up to me last year and was like, "Oh my God, you're so gorgeous." He was like, "You really have to truly be gorgeous to really pull off a haircut like yours." I was like, "What?" That is
yeah,
the
and
highest
that's
compliment someone can give you.
yeah,
You have to
like,
be
and
gorgeous
that's
to pull
always
off a
people that are
haircut like
like,
that.
there's people all the time. They're like, "Oh, they're like, you're only you can pull that off. Like your head shape is perfect. You're beautiful, and that's why it works." And I was like,
Oh my
if
God.
it didn't work, I still would be doing it.
People don't understand like that whole concept of like your head has to be a particular way to cut it. It's not even true. It's a
No,
lie they tell yourselves, okay?
yeah, I
That's a
was like, you
lie.
see this little? My mom pushed me out. I got that little lump in the back of my head. We all know that.
Like, it's not even true. Like, I hear that all the time, and I'd be like, yo, that's not true. Like, you can rock your haircut. Like, unless you
Yeah,
got some big ass head, I doubt
that's true. Like if you got like a,
like everybody can rock a short haircut. I'm convinced because
I
my
think
friend
so.
that had cancer, she was so scared to cut her hair off. Like, and then she didn't know how beautiful she was until she cut it all off. Like, that's a true testament. She was like, she realized that she held on to her hair because it was a part of her identity.
Yeah, and I think
That's what it is.
that ties definitely into like our culture. When I shaved my head and oh gosh. So the first time, like I was like, okay, this is it. I shaved my head when I said I was 26, and I was in seminary at the time.
Mhm.
Keep that in mind. Also, because I was blonde, and that was like a whole no. But I was in seminary time, and I rolled in on that Thursday to class, buzz cut, like full on blonde buzz cut, and a lot of the people in the seminary were older than me. I was like, I think the only like one of two that was like under 30 at the time. And my teacher pulled me aside and she was like, "What is this?"
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. Um, and she was like, "No, we don't shave our head unless we're mourning." And I was like, she's like, "What are you mourning?" And I was like,
What?
"Nothing." Because like Caribbean culture, like your hair is tied to like your beauty.
Yeah, yeah. It's annoying. It really is. It's
Right there.
and I'm tired. Okay, so this recently happened to me because like I feel like the association that if you have a haircut and you dress like a boy, you must be gay. What is the issue? Like, what is the problem?
Because I feel like people believe like you should lean more. I think when I shaved my head, I started to dress more feminine, or like I
Mm,
was like I would wear earrings, I would wear lipstick more because I didn't want. Also, I was in a very like legalistic church faith, so and I was single, so it was just like
mhm.
they're like, is she a lesbian?
Yes, like it's insane. Like someone told me like sometime last year, like, oh, you're not gay? I'm like, no. They're like, oh, I would have thought. Like, why? She's like, oh, because your haircut. What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Because they're projecting their ideas of what masculinity and femininity should look like, and it's like
I feel
if
like
I
I'd
want
be
to
like an activism for that.
if I want to dress more feminine, then so be it. But also, it's like it's so stupid because there are lipstick lesbians. There are women who present themselves very feminine that break their necks for other women. So it's like it's just this idea that it's just so annoying because I love there are days when I'm in my Jordans, have my hat on, oversized t-shirt. Like even my niece says it sometimes. She's like, you mix feminine and masculine stuff together a lot. And I was like, because it's just who I am.
It's
I
so
like the
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like masculine stuff. I like wearing my husband's stuff. I also like really pretty bras. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I like sometimes showing them, but
Yeah, true.
I
Yeah,
like
we
being a
love that
lady.
stuff. Like I heard, but yeah, stuff like that really just infuriates me. I like don't like assumptions. That really just really hurts me sometimes. So
Yeah. People are
people just
ignorant and jerks. That's it's not an excuse. People are just they're stupid.
yeah, they don't know how to have a different view or like open up their mind a little bit more. Just because someone dresses a certain way it does not mean anything. I still wear
No,
makeup. I still wear,
well, I
it's
mean,
so
think about
weird.
it. Like we're in a time now where and I was saying this literally, I was on set last week and I was saying this. We're in a time where you can look up anything. You can literally
Mhm.
in real time fact check
Yeah. Yeah.
in real time. And we're the most ignorant ever, like in
Ugh,
as a society. I've watched TikToks where people are like, oh, they'll be doing something and they're like, oh, I don't know where I got this from. You literally have 2.5 seconds to literally look it up as you're doing it, or
yeah.
make sure like, is this accurate? Is what I'm looking up accurate? Is this source a reliable source? Like, and this is like, I think people are just determined to be so small minded. And I think probably because we're in fashion, we're more open minded to expressions of dress and stuff like that. And that
Yeah.
makes us comfortable with our expression of dress.
Yeah.
But I think the more narrow minded you are, the more you're just like anything that's different from what you see is
Yeah.
it's not normal. It's odd.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it, I think. So you said you love the best part of being you is like how you see things, right? That's what you said.
Hmm.
I love that. Cuz sometimes we get frustrated with ourselves and how we see things. I felt like I had to learn to love my overthinking, self-awareness, and spiraling type of thing that I do because like do you overthink until you spiral? Like it's like the
Yes.
worst.
And
It's
it's even horrible when you're like in the shower and I'm like rethinking conversations and things I should say, and then what happens if they see this? It's like I'm having a full blown argument in my head in the shower with someone I haven't even met yet.
look, ladies and
Just preparing
gentlemen, you're
myself.
not alone. Okay, we are here for you.
There is help.
There is
Shout
yo,
out to my
I
psychiatrist.
did it. I was a part of an interview. They're doing some like Renaissance interview thing, and they want to recreate the Harlem Renaissance, and they asked all the types of artists to be in this photo shoot. So they
Oh,
had interview
cool.
portion, and I went into a whole spiral like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Oh my God, I could have said this different. For like 3, 4 days, I went through a whole thing. Like, I should have said this. Oh my God, I should have had a better answer for that. To this day, I think like I sound like a goof because I don't even know what I said. Like, I was like, I
So
probably sound
funny.
like a goof. Like, what was I
You
talking about? They're
know.
like, oh, how'd you get into Broadway? Well, I was like, I just applied. I just found an ad on Last Looks, and then she just liked me and she kept me. Literally, I think I said something. I don't even know. I don't even know if they could use any of it. I know they probably can't, but anyway.
You don't know. You don't know. Let's see.
Like, how do you still love yourself when your body is changing?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because that's where I'm at now. I was thinking about like when I first became aware of like body types, and I think my mom, as most moms that had children in the 90s, they were moms during like the diet era. Like, the 90s were huge for diets, and the
Mm.
80s, like, aerobics and being small. And
And it's slim
my mom was
fast.
yeah, my mom was she was a naturally small woman, and as she had her kids, she didn't snap back. She did, so she's like,
Mm.
she started to get curves. Also,
Mhm.
I think my mom had me at 24, my brother at 26, and my youngest sibling at 28. So when you're 30, like you turn 30, of course your 30-year-old body is not going to look like your 23-year-old
Mhm.
body that didn't push out 3 children. But I watched how like my aunts treated her and how she perceived herself, and I like my childhood memories of my mom dieting.
Mm.
That's all I remember. I was like, she had like Jenny Craig, and I remember this one time. I remember this vividly. I had to bring this up to her. She had like this like diet, like muffin mix, and I opened it because I was like, "What is this?" I opened it, put my hand in, and I was like, "Oh, that's gross." And she was so upset because I think that was her breakfast.
Oh shoot.
um, but she had cottage cheese in the fridge and grapefruit and like all those different things. And I was always skinny, so I didn't think anything of it. And it wasn't
Mm.
until a grown man told me that he was like, "Oh, you're gonna get bigger as you get older," and I was just like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Oh, because your collarbones don't show as much." Yeah, grown man.
That's
He's like, "Your
crazy.
collarbones, your collarbones don't show as much, which means you're gonna gain weight as you get older." And I was just like, "What?" And it's like, just at that first thing that just sits in the back of your head.
Mhm.
And then, fast forward, I'm like 105 pounds, 100 in high school. And also I was playing a sport. So it's just, I was always just a naturally lean person. My siblings we were all just naturally lean kids. We get our dad. Um, and we didn't think anything of it. And then when I went into the agency, because they were interested in me, and then they told me, they're like, "Oh, you need to lose 2 inches off of your hips." I was like, "Oh, doable." My mom's like, "From where? How? Like, how are you gonna like?
Mm.
They're gonna have to shave it off. Like, those
Right.
are hip
Oh my
bones."
gosh.
And just like, and that started a very interesting journey with like diet pills. And even though I was already small, like I look back and I was like, girl.
There's nothing
um
wrong.
Nothing wrong, but because this agency told me something was wrong, and I really really
Yeah.
wanted to be signed. This was like one of the top 5 agencies at the time. And I wanted to be signed. I wanted to be on the development board, and I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. And then after I was like, no. And then also I got introduced to video vixens, and I was like, oh, I could be a video vixen. I didn't have enough booty or chest for that. I was I was too big to be a high fashion model, too small to be an R&B model, like rap
Right.
model. Just in the middle, floating in the middle. And then I think it just clicked. Like I hit my late 20s. I became a vegetarian because I was just more aware of like being intentional about what I'm putting into my body in a healthy way.
Mm.
And then I became vegan, and I became vegan because I read an article about how people who had like a history of mental illness, when they were embracing a vegan diet, they had better chances with like dealing with depression and stuff like that. And my mom's bipolar, and my grandma had depression. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Oh wow.
So I became vegan. I was vegan for 2 years. And then I was really small. I got smaller. So, and I didn't realize how small I got until like my clothes weren't fitting anymore. And I was just like, oh, something. I had to figure this out. And then I started to have digestive issues. So my doctor put me on like meat. She's like, oh, you need to eat salmon and lamb. And I was like, man,
Oh,
those
lamb is
are
banging.
animals. It is. It is. It's my favorite thing in the world. I'm sorry.
Lamb and duck, woo, both banging.
So good. But it was like learning to eat again. And then when I started eating, I started to gain weight, and then realizing I had this issue with like what my body was doing. And feeling like out of control with what was happening. I think, and then I came to peace with it, because I was like, I was getting curves. I was like, I got boobs, I got a booty. You can't tell me nothing. You know, that's how it always starts. I was like, I'm a medium. Like,
oh my God.
So
the Black community love a big booty, okay?
Yes. I was like, hey, I'm moving it. I'm walking and something's moving behind me. Who is she? Who is she? Yeah, but then I think like just this past year, like we did IVF, and my body didn't respond to it the way it should, and I started gaining weight, and then we found out I had fibroids, and there was like this point of like reassessing, like, okay, I'm a whole grown woman. I'm 38, and I can't look back at my 28-year-old body and be like, I want that. And it's like, okay, how can I be healthy in this body? Am I like at risk in any way in this size? No? Okay, so then I'm healthy. And how do I love it? Because I love dressing. So how do I start dressing in this, what this looks like now?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm always empowering and encouraging women with curves and, non-straight size women. And I'm like, well, why do I not do that for myself? Like, why am I not showing up with myself? Like, do I truly think that this is beautiful if I don't feel comfortable? So now, with my agency, is doing great. Yeah, my agency is doing great. Yeah. I'm still submitting for jobs. I'm still getting booked for jobs. And now I'm just like, Pilates has definitely made me stronger. And like my weight hasn't changed. I'm just stronger. So it makes me like embrace like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to be. But yeah, now I'm getting older, and premenopause is breathing down my back.
Stop the madness.
Yeah, girl. I get hot flashes. I wake up every night with the sweats every single night now. Every single night.
You want me to put? You want me to put this in this, or you want me to cut this?
You can. I'm having hot flashes. I'm starting to gain weight. Like it's getting wild.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, and I spoke to my gynecologist, and she was like, "Oh no, you're not perimenopausal because you're still having periods." I was like, "Ma'am, and this was like, my behind
it must
was
be hormones or something.
What hormones?
I don't know.
I'm not taking any hormones. No, yeah, I'm gonna get a second opinion, because I literally I spoke to other women who are my age, who are also going through perimenopause, and it's the same thing. And it's like my periods have changed, but I think because we did the last round of IVF, like everything changed after that. So I didn't really pay attention, but it wasn't until like, me, I run cold. I'm always cold.
Yeah.
I am always hot now. I'm in a sheer shirt right now because I'm sitting
always
here
hot
sweating.
too. I thought it was just me.
Listen, and I remember watching my mom. My mom would be sitting there sweating, and I'm like, "Why are you sweating?" It's going through menopause. And girl, I can't believe
this.
I'm sweating all the time.
I think someone was telling me it's more with the weather than anything now, or like. Then someone was like, maybe you walk too fast at the train station. Maybe that's what it is. Someone was telling me that. And I was like, maybe, because I do walk kind of fast, but I don't know.
I'll be sitting still, sweating, like full sweat. And Tabitha Brown, she was talking about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And like, I get irritable really quickly. Like I get really annoyed easily, and I was like, what is wrong with me?
Oh yeah. I think that's just normal for me. I just so now I gotta be like, let me get out of my head and let me not too focus on it because I feel like I'm gonna get too like irritated by it. But
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have a question for people that listening and watching? People that's trying to find the beauty in themselves. I definitely would love to hear what kind of question you would have them ask themselves.
Um, I guess my question would be like, what is one thing that you can do daily to just help you embrace and celebrate who you are? Because I think a lot of
Mm,
times people are like, oh, we need this checklist. And once you have this long list of things to do, it gets overwhelming. So I always think like, what's this one thing I can do, one way I can show up for myself daily to remind myself that I'm awesome, that I'm special, that I'm different, and that's good. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like mine isn't really like I make the bed every day. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal,
No, that's a
but
big deal. Yeah, it changes
when
the
you
vibe.
yeah, when you battle depression for as long as I have, I was like, you know what I can do each day? Make the bed. And
Damn.
that's it. I was like, that's it. That's
Do
it.
I do anything? Yeah, I feel like writing is like journaling is something that I think that helps.
I used to journal so much. I have all these journals in our little chest
Hmm.
from elementary school on.
You
Yeah,
could literally make a book.
I don't want to.
Oh my god! Just say,
I would not want to.
would you give it to
Lord,
your future daughter or something? Wouldn't that
I
be
was
cool?
such a sad kid. I was so sad. I was so sad. Little
Oh
Michelle.
my god! Oh, well, look at you now.
On medication.
Me too. Me too. Yo, this was so fun. I'm so happy you came and did the intro for my season 5 because it means a lot for real. I appreciate you for doing this. I know you don't want to do it, but you did it anyway.
It was I didn't want to. I was like the topic. I was like, dang, can you give me something a little bit more like I don't know,
Yo,
be in my feelings?
you popped into my head literally, and I was just like, because I don't know, like I don't know how it came about. I think I was watching the Michelle Obama interview with Jay Shetty and she said something like that. I was like, boom. I think I need to have a conversation about that because I feel like there's so much things that help us like get more distance from ourselves than anything because of social media, the stuff on TV. And you see these perceptions that people want to post their highlights. And I think it gets in the way of like you just focusing on loving yourself.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's what kind of got me there. Um, thank you again for coming on. I love you so much.
Love you too. It's been a pleasure.
It really has. AKA, we kind of caught up, okay?
Yeah, you're up to date now. I'm going through perimenopause.
I can't believe that shit. I'm like,
Okay,
am
we're
I
gonna
going through the
confirm.
same thing? Like,
I don't know. I mean, like, I know that, like, one of the things I realized as I was looking it up, the generation before us never talked about anything. Like, I didn't know to look for fertility issues. I don't do any of
mhm,
that because
yeah.
my mom finished having kids at 30. So
My mom last
how
kid
is
was at
she?
37. So, yeah.
Yeah, one of my friend's mom had her at like 40, 41. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm not popping out no kid past
Look, you don't
40.
know
Like, well,
what's
we're
going
talking
to
about
happen.
no,
That's
no,
what
no,
I'm
no, no.
saying. You can't say no.
Excuse me. Yes, I can. I am not Sarah. Chris is not Abraham. We are not doing this. No, no, no. We're
Look,
not
you
doing this.
can't say you can't, though. Like, I
Listen,
don't know.
we be having conversations all the time. And I'm not saying no. I'm just saying we gotta talk about this.